Hi everyone, Miss Gadbear here again, and we're going to do Lesson 2, Part 2 for our Wit and Wisdom module on our text, Wild About Books. Yesterday, you should have examined your text with your teacher and answered some questions about what happens in our story. So today when we listen to our story, I want you guys to think about the following questions. Think about what the animals started to do after they read. We're going to think about, why do people write? Why is it important to write about what I read? And how might writing about wild about books help you understand the story better? And then we're going to think of one word that describes how the animals felt at the beginning about the librarian. And we're going to think of one word about how the animals felt at the end of the book about the librarian in the book.
Welcome to Storytime with Miss Rose. Today's story is Wild About Books by Judy Sierra, pictures by Mark Brown. It started the summer of 2002 when the Springfield Library Molly McGrew by mistake drove her bookmobile into the zoo. Molly opened the door and she led down the stair, turned on the computer and sat in her chair. At first, all the animals watched from a distance, but Molly could conquer the strongest resistance. By reading aloud from the good Dr. Seuss, she quickly attracted a mink and a moose, a wombat, an oryx, a lemur, a lynx, 8 elephant calves, and a family of skinks. In a flash, every beast in the zoo was stampeding to learn all about this new something called reading. Forsaking their niches, their nests, and their nooks, they went wild, simply wild about wonderful books, choosing thin books and fat books and cat in the hat books, and new books and true books, and heaps of how-to books. Giraffes wanted tall books and crickets craved small books, while geckos could only read stick-to-the-wall books. The pandas demanded more books in Chinese. Molly filled the request, always eager to please. She even found waterproof books for the otter, who never went swimming without Harry Potter. Raccoons read alone and baboons read in bunches, and llamas read dramas while eating their lunches. Hyenas shared jokes with the red-bellied snakes, and they howled and they hissed till their funny bones ached. A true kangaroo who adored Nancy Drew began solving mysteries right there at the zoo, such as, why were the bandicoots' books overdue? Gently, Molly taught lessons in treating books right, for the boa constrictors squeezed Crichter too tight. Baby bunnies mucked up Goodnight Moon with their paws. Giant termites devoured the Wizard of Oz. And Bear's love of books was completely outrageous. They licked all the pictures right off of the pages. Tasmanian devils found books so exciting that soon they had given up fighting for writing. They made up adventures so thrilling and new that the others decided to be authors too. Pythons wrote with their tails, penguins wrote with their bills, and porcupines wrote with their very own quills. At the new insect zoo, bugs were scribbling haiku. The scorpion gave each a stinging review. Walking stick. A cannibal twig silently devours a leaf, eating, not eaten. Pretentious. Dung beetle. Roll a ball of dung. Any kind of poo will do. Baby beetle bed. Stinks. Millipede. I dig for treasure in my enchanted castle. A rotten apple. Boring. Giant hissing cockroach. Hiss, 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 hiss. Hiss, 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 hiss. Hiss, 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 hiss. Redundant. As the cheetah's new novel began to take shape, He read chapters each night to the barber he ate, and although the gazelle couldn't spell very well, like everyone else, she had stories to tell. Imagine the hippo's enormous surprise when her memoir was given the Zulitzer Prize. With so many new books, Molly knew what to do. She hired 12 beavers, a stork, and a gnu to build a branch library there at the zoo. And the animals cried, "We can do it ourselves. We can check the books out. We can put them on shelves." And they did, and they do, up to this very day. 3 cheers for the zoobrary. Hip, hip, hooray. When you visit the zoo now, you surely won't mind if the animals seem just a bit hard to find. They are snug in their niches, their nests, and their nooks, going wild, simply wild about wonderful books. Thanks for watching Storytime with Miss Rose. If you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell for more videos.
And today, we're going to examine what it means to write about books. After all the animals in Wild About Books started to read, what else did they learn how to do? That's right, they started learning how to write, just like you guys. So today we're going to get that red notebook out again, and we're going to draw a picture, or we're going to write it down why we think people write. We're also going to think about why is it important to write about what I read. Let's read that together. Why is it important to write about what I read? And that is one of our craft questions for the day. We're going to have 2 craft questions today. And a craft question is like our small content framing questions. And it's a question that we can think about and answer today, right now. So go ahead and pause the video, and you guys can write down this question. Our second craft question is, how might writing about Wild About Books help you to better understand the story? So remember that craft question is like our content framing question, and it's a small question that we can answer today. Let's read it out together. How might writing about Wild About Books help you understand the story better? And you can work on that with a grown-up, or you can draw a picture if you'd like. And we're going to share those answers with our teacher later today in our Zoom sessions. So go ahead and pause the video and write that down if you need to. Another thing that we're going to think about today is thinking of one word that could describe how the animals felt about the librarian and the books at the beginning of the story. How would you feel in the beginning of the story? You can either write that word down, or you can draw a picture and make sure it goes in that red notebook. Our next question is, can you think of one word that could describe how the animals felt about the librarian and the books at the end of the story? And we're going to write that word down and maybe draw a picture too. And we're going to put that in our red notebook. That's right. So we're going to think about a few things today, and then we're going to come back and we're going to answer them today with our teacher in our Zoom sessions. So remember, we want to think about what the animals started to do after they read. We're going to think about, why do people write? Why is it important to write about what I read? And how might writing about Wild About Books help you understand the story better? And then we're going to think of one word that describes how the animals felt at the beginning about the librarian. And we're going to think of one word about how the animals felt at the end of the book about the librarian and the books. And I'll see you guys later.